So, Allie, there's been this conversation that's been happening in our community about whether AI is coming for our jobs. Yeah. Okay.
I feel it.
So we're going to explore that question a little bit today. So I have got an app. We're going to do something a little bit different today. So we are looking at Uizard, which is a wireframing prototyping tool that uses artificial intelligence to generate full-scale interactive prototypes. Yeah, on a prompt within moments. And I've been playing with this tool for about a month and a half now. And what I want to look at, I really hope everybody stays till the end of the video, because what we're going to look at is what it generated from a prompt today. And then we're going to look at what it generated from the prompt a month and a half ago, from the exact same prompt. And
so how quickly it's learning and like improving.
Yes, we are going to look, because it is wild. It is absolutely wild how much this tool has improved and how much it's improved from an OOUX perspective, how much it's semantically improved. Okay, so Figma just came out with their AI solution. I have not looked at that yet. We will probably come back and do another video on Figmas because that's what everybody's so excited about. But I really wanted to do this one first because it's been out for a little bit longer. I want to give Figma a little bit of time to like work their kinks out. And then we'll loop back around and we'll do something similar with Figma and probably some of the other tools. Like put in the chat, y'all, like what tools are you using? Which tools should we be looking at? But this one has been one that I've been playing around with. And I laughed hysterically at what it did a month and a half ago. And what I did today, I was like, oh, hello. Okay. And it's so funny because the visual design hasn't necessarily improved. The visual design was actually pretty good a month and a half ago. It's just semantically made no sense a month and a half ago. And
like, you mean the labels, like semantically the labels of the, and like
you'll
the
see,
of it?
You will see.
Okay.
I will say, okay. So the spoiler is a month and a half ago, what we'll look at near the end of the video is the end of the episode is, being able to identify what the objects are. And you basically can't. Like, there's nothing. It's just UI put together into something that looks like something. But what we got today was interesting. All right. So still some really weird shit happening, definitely, but you can see where it's going. So we're going to look at both of those prototypes that were built with the exact same prompt. And then what we're also going to do is in between, and we're going to have a little intermission in between, and we're going to look at what Christine does. And Christine is the OOUX bot that is free to use on the ChatGPT store. And we're going to take a look at what Christine did with the prompt as well. So same prompt and basically three like mini chapters, okay, in this little journey that we're going to go on. Cool?
Awesome. All right. Let's dive in.
So here's the prompt that I used in all 3 iterations. This is an app for a social neighborhood dog walking exchange network. Dog owners can switch off duty for walking each other's dogs when neighbors are out of town. Taking neighbors' dogs on walks and feeding them earns you points that you can offer to others when you need your dog or dogs walked. That's all I gave it. Okay. There is actually a character limit, so I couldn't even give it more. Okay, so that is all I could give it. This is an idea that I came up with while I was walking a neighbor's dog. So this is what it gave me today. All right, so we're not going to analyze the weird images, all right, and the fact that there's no forgot password, okay? We're going to analyze this from an OOUX perspective. Now, in this first screen, I get these 2 tabs, available walks, I'm guessing available walks near you, yep, and neighbors, dogs, out and about. Okay, so we're on the neighbors, dogs, out and about tab. And I can see these, what would you call this object right here?
Like initially I see it and it's just like a dog. So I'm like dog, but is Max the dog? But it says join the conversation.
Yeah.
Max is.
And there's like this thing and then this thing, which is a dog and a dog.
Uh-huh.
It's kind of doing like a BeReal type thing here, which is interesting for a post for a dog walking app, because you might want to take your picture and the dog's picture too. So this is a post object, I believe, right? So it's like people maybe that have liked it. You can join the conversation. So it basically took that idea of like social network and was like, there should be posts, right? Now, in the beta version of this, or like the initial launch of this, would I have introduced posts as the very first thing? Probably not. Available walks near you. Now, walk as an object totally makes sense. It does not show this tab though, but we definitely get like this walk object and this post object. We can start seeing like a post has one, like this is an owner who posted it. We can see the people who may have also commented on it or liked it. So, and we also see like maybe a timestamp on there just now. Is that what it says? Just posted, just updated. So now we have like, can posts be updated? Just shared. So now posts can be updated, shared. Like, okay, so you'd expect maybe a timestamp there. So, okay, interesting stuff going on. We've got posts. We've got walks. All right. Moving on to here, we've got a search screen. So here you can see like, I mean, this is actually like all this UI is like looks pretty good. And they also like give you like a style to prompt with. I think you can even import your own design system or something like that, which is wild. But like this is kind of interesting. So you have like you're searching for available dog walking opportunities. And what exactly is available dog walking opportunities? Is the same thing as a available walk? Is that the same thing? I think it is. So let's go ahead and say, like an available walk that I can like claim and be like, oh yeah, like I'll walk your dog, at 10 p.m. tomorrow, 10 a.m. tomorrow, whenever. But then we have this like dog preferences, like let me see dogs within this range, which is like cool UI, but at the same time, this would mean that somebody would need to set the dog size on a similar range, right? So like, I don't know how realistic this is. So this is the type of stuff that I start to worry about when I think about people, maybe like new UX designers or people coming into the field and using something like this and being like, yeah, cool, but not thinking through the metadata implications of this particular UI.
Well, and it's throwing me off that it's a small, medium, and then large mix, like mixed breed, or So it's like, what?
yeah. There's definitely like, okay, is this
the
labeling is like this is like it's mixing breeds. So there's definitely some UI hallucinations going on here.
There you go.
But I can definitely start getting some like inspiration here. Like maybe there is a little slider for dog size, but then again, like, does that make sense? Or are we just going to have small, medium, and large? Like, and if you just have small, medium, and large as the values for dog size, you don't need a slider. Like a slider is a dumb UI for that. So, and then, that's a good call. Large mix. How does that actually work? And then we've got like walking schedule. So this is interesting too. And honestly, when I was thinking this through before, like something that I didn't think about actually on the owner to have walking preferences, like when I like to walk the dogs and maybe when those dogs schedule are, so it can help you match owners to dogs. All right.
And that's what this seems like. The dog preferences is like my preference for who I want to walk, right? Like a small dog versus a large dog, assuming. And then the schedule's like the times that I want to walk.
But it's not actually clear here. Like, is this the dog's walking schedule? Or is it your walk? Is this like dogs that like a 30-minute walk versus dogs that like a morning, afternoon, weekend? So it likely is the person walking. But again, like this hasn't been modeled. This is just like, this is a little
spaghetti
bit of
on the
UI
wall.
vomit, I would say.
But
vomit. Wait till you see. Stay till the end of the video, people. Wait till you see what it was doing a month and a half ago, because then you'll see some real UI vomit. This is like improvement. Leaps and bounds. And I'm talking a month and a half, y'all. We can actually like look at the timestamp. I think a month and a half, a month. I mean, not in the far distant past, right? That it was doing even weirder stuff. And then we get this like owner details, like are these calls to action, like chat, like in my search?
Is that a button that takes me somewhere, or do I just check
this
those?
Is just like delete, like what, like this is no. Why would this be here? It doesn't make any sense. And then we get these dog amenities. So like, is this metadata on the dog? Like, is this things that like dog behavior? Yes, metadata on the dog, but special instructions might be on the walk. Leash required. That's like, what does that even
Isn't
mean?
A leash always required to walk?
Maybe it's like, do you need to bring your own leash, or like? But that seems again like basically that would be something that I would talk to the business about. Like maybe that's just like all walks, the dog comes with its leash, like it has its own leash, right? Like you would never even have that. That's not something you would filter and sort by. So again, what I fear here is somebody looking at something like this and not actually thinking through the business requirements and not thinking about user research and like if this is anything that even would matter to real human beings, like whether there's poop bags available, is that really how I would search walks? Is that something that you would care about, right? So but it's interesting information, like the fact that there's poop bags available. Like this is not in the right place, but this can actually.
But they thought about it.
Yeah, they thought about it. Like I mean, they, however you want to say it. Like these actually. What I think is interesting about this is actually amazing for inspiration. Like if I was designing this app, I would definitely not be copying and pasting this, but I would be looking at this and being like, whether a water bottle is included, is that something that I need to like ask users about? Like treats being provided, is that like, and what is that information on? Is that information on the owner that owner always provides treats when the people are coming to their dog or when they're going to their dog?
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, where this information actually belongs and digging into, these are nice little like areas for inspiration, actually. Rating system. This is your additional information where you can uncheck rating system, like and then emergency contact is here, emergency contact information is here. So obviously like these are all supposed to be filters on a search, and some of these are just not filters, like they're calls to action there. So again, like things to watch out for, but also some really interesting stuff and some interesting metadata actually to start thinking about, like what object would it belong in, and is it something actually relevant? And then we get to this thing, and I don't know what this thing is. Like, this is where I'm like, is this an owner profile? I mean, we've got owner's location and available now, and then we have like owner details. So does that go to the profile? But then there's their dog profile, and I can chat, I'm guessing, with the owner. So this kind of looks like an owner profile page, but it's not, it's not really clear whether it is. And then like is available now even metadata that we would want on the owner. So if this is the owner, do people say whether they like turn themselves on within the app that I'm available right now? Like that doesn't actually seem very realistic to me for something like this. Like most of this is going to be like, I'm going on a trip and I need to like fill these spots of people to come walk my dog while I'm on this trip. Not like this is happening right now. Maybe you might have an emergency. I'm stuck late at work or something. Can somebody go take my dog out? But that might just be that walk becomes available. So I don't know. Like this seems like more research needed. And again, like that's what I would worry about here. And I would warn any UX or UI designer working on or using AI to really use this as inspiration and to take everything with a grain of salt, right? Like validate everything, especially at the point we are right now in AI. Okay. So this one, chat and message, makes sense. Cool. All right. Chat, fine. Might want a timestamp on that. And then we get here.
I'm still confused if I'm talking to the dog or the owner, but that's fine.
Probably not the dog, but yeah, the pictures are kind of very dog-like. But
Rocky the owner.
Yeah. Buddy.
But maybe that's like, I'm not going to get it. Like, maybe that's its shtick. It's like, you don't know the owner's name. You just know the dog's name because that's who you
Yeah, this is just Max's owner.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, some silly stuff here. So then we go to this. This definitely looks like the profile. Like this is a product detail. It actually
like walking as a product.
Should we click that? See what happens. The feedback on the design. Wah, wah.
That's cute.
Okay, well, next time. But that's interesting because, it's just a matter of time before that starts working, where you can maybe move some stuff around and you can actually get feedback on it. So interesting stuff to come. So now when we get to the profile, okay, so cool, beautiful, update profile, search, like why is a search button there? That doesn't really make any sense. Schedule versus chat, like those CTAs don't really make a whole lot of sense. But there's some interesting stuff again with the metadata, like the number of steps, like community. I don't know what, like, why does it say community? 10K steps community. But 100 walks, 250 friends, that makes sense. But like the number of steps is an interesting thing. Like maybe to research, like, is that I thought that was actually kind of cool.
Yeah.
Like number of steps that they've taken while walking, or you could even do like average number of steps per walk or something like that. But yeah, pretty cool. But then we get,
I like that.
Yeah. So again, like interesting inspiration, like don't know what that is either, but like, and then we get images and clips and then walks. Okay. Now down here, they gave me a couple more like design proposals. So some login screens. We get some dog modules and user modules, which are definitely masked right now. It's really hard. I mean, other than the face, but if a person put a dog as the, as their profile picture, then we really wouldn't be able to tell the difference between these. We definitely got some masking there. But then this is some really interesting stuff too. This is your points management. So you have your current balance of points and then your points history, and being able to see on a walk, like whether I gained points because I walked somebody else's dog or I lost points because I offered points. So I was like, that's pretty cool. So this is kind of like your walk history. Now, again, like I would make this like look more like a walk and like a walk in the past. So we would basically think of walk as an object that's available and claimed and current and past. And then this is just offer points and recipient's name and send points. Like it doesn't really make a whole lot of sense here. You probably attach points to a walk, not just, but maybe you could just dole out some points if they did a really good job and you could send some points to people. So that's actually something to think about. So overall here, Allie, what do you think?
I mean, it feels like, okay, I'm thinking back to the prompt, how basic it was. It was such a simple prompt. And I feel like they overcomplicated it. But so if I did have a longer prompt to do, I feel like I would have to do the work to go back and really clarify, like, these are the things it needs. Like these are the primary objects. We've got a walk, we've got the owner, we've got the actual dog itself, and like clarify what those are. And I'm very curious if you were able to do that. Because right now, I mean, they're getting close to that, but there feels like a lot of stuff that's just unnecessary that I would be like, cut this out. Yeah. But like from an inspiration standpoint, I love it. Like, I'm just so terrified that someone would be like, great, ship it and like build it.
Yeah. Or put this like, do not please, like, I know, like, I don't want to insult anybody's intelligence listening, but like, please don't just like throw this into a portfolio. Like people will be able to tell. Like, I mean, it is, this is definitely something that I think can be leveraged at this point in time as inspiration and as ways to just things to like, I think that I at least got probably like 10 to 12 like little mini ideas if I was developing this app that I would go forward with and like put it in front of the users and try to get additional research on if that makes sense or not. So to me, like for something that's, I think Uizard is $12 a month, and at this $12, $20 a month, and this literally took like a minute and a half to generate, if that, like so fast. So, and then I think you can even refresh it and just do again, and it'll like come up with something different. So you can come up with probably like a lot of different ideas. And the thing is what we'll see is it just keeps getting better. So yeah, imagine being able to feed an object map into this.
I feel like, that would help so much with just the architecture and how this is organized and navigating.
It could do, if you could feed an object map as a prompt into this. All right, so let's look at Christine. Okay, so I did the exact same prompt in Christine, the OUX assistant. So just asking Christine to create an object map for this concept. And this is what Christine came up with. So if you don't know how to read an object map, you can just check out the video. We'll link it somewhere or link it down below it's a quick video on object mapping. We will get that to you, but I'm not going to go over exactly all the pieces of this. But basically what Christine came up with was the objects, starting to come up with core content and metadata, and getting into some relationships. And this is not bad. So we've got the dog, we've got the owner, we've got the neighborhood, we've got the walk, and we've got the points. So the neighborhood, like population of the neighborhood, like probably doesn't matter. Region, I don't even know if neighborhood needs to be an object. It can probably be metadata on the owner. And maybe probably just metadata on the owner. And then also points is definitely metadata too. So Christine, you got to take her with a grain of salt too if you're using Christine. But the cool thing is here, and she lets you know, take me with a grain of salt, please. And here we go. I actually said, okay, so points are probably not objects. That's going to be metadata on other objects. For example, a walk might have points offered as metadata. Let's also include trip as an object. A trip is a thing that an owner can post with multiple walks that owners can claim. A trip would need a start and an end date. So then it starts to build that out for me. The relationships in general make sense too. Pause the video if you want to look at this a little bit more. It's obviously it's not getting all the metadata and the core content right for the OUXers out there that are looking at age and they're like, why is it not on a red sticky note? And then even some nested objects that are not quite right, like the walker here would probably be another owner, right? It's not going to be core content. So definitely take this with a grain of salt as well. But Christine is also learning too. So these are going to continue to get better and better. And then I went ahead and I actually asked for a CTA matrix as well. Oh. So this actually did really, really well. So the things that the dog owner, so I actually gave it to let it look at 2 roles that honestly the same role would be, and it's more like these relative roles of owner versus a caregiver of a dog. Now, you might have some people that are not owners, that are just caregivers, that just love walking dogs. Maybe they can't get a dog on their own, so they just want to walk other neighbors' dogs. That's definitely a possibility. So we have the dog owner and the dog caregiver, and it did a really good job of saying, okay, like what would the dog owner do versus the dog caregiver do to a dog, right? Report issue, update dog status, view dog info. So this actually was really strong too.
Interesting. I kind of like that they have neighborhood in there. Like I'm thinking I could join my neighborhood that I live in and like I just want to walk dogs in that neighborhood.
Yeah.
Or search for a neighborhood. Like it's kind of because we do have like neighborhoods that aren't on the map, but like I know what our neighborhood is called, like South Urbana, like it's
right. And you might be able to say, like, some people might say, okay, I'll walk dogs in my neighborhood and also like these 2 adjacent neighborhoods. Like I'm cool with going for a little drive to walk a dog. But that it could also be metadata that you just like tag yourself with the neighborhoods. So probably I wouldn't say that would be an initial object, probably messaging. So a message or chat would probably be, so actually like seeing that in the Uizard prototype was pretty cool. So, yeah. Are you ready to, and then I went ahead and I asked for a detailed list of core content and metadata for the owner object. And it gave me a whole lot more information, points balance. That would probably be red and not yellow. But activity level, neighborhood, preferred walking time. So neighborhood would definitely be in this model, would be a nested object. But, some really interesting stuff, again, for inspiration, right? To just start thinking. And between these 2, you could probably build a really interesting object map that you could go, and also a really interesting research plan too. So using these both together, I think is a total win. So the last thing I want to show you, are you ready to see?
I'm ready. Let's go back in the Wayback Machine and see what it was.
Yes.
What did it used to do?
Okay. Same exact prompt. I mean, you can already see with the images, like I really like, let's not even talk about the images because they're so bad. But like we get some wacky stuff here. So we still are getting these like post objects, but they're barely like, it's like almost like a call to action. There's a money sign there. There's like metadata that makes no sense to have on a post. Like compared to the post that we just looked at earlier in the video that like actually looked like a post. Like walk dogs, earn points. You and 300 others are active. Like,
whoa,
what is this thing? And then like, this is what originally got me. I was like, what are these? These are calls to action that look like stories. No. Yes. Oh no is right. Oh no is right.
Whoa.
And this is what I would be like. This is the thing that scares me the most but it scares me less now that I see all the improvements. but that what these AIs will do is like just like find a UI. Like there's circles at the top of the
Yeah.
screen. People like circles at the top of a screen.
Yes.
And like, even though that's what we've known as stories, so that's where like kind of like everywhere there's a story. It's a circle at the top of the screen. It's a story.
Yeah, this is like Instagram.
This is like
Yeah.
Instagram. And now it's turned into like calls to action. And then somebody, a junior UX designer might take this and be like, oh, like let's put like people like stories. So let's like put these calls to action that look like stories at the top. So we want to remember that when people are using our applications, they are using our applications like 0.0001 of their screen time. Like, unless it's like a business app that people are in, that your users are in like 8 hours a day. Like they're using all sorts of other applications and they're learning from the other applications and they're taking that and they're applying it. So we've started creating these patterns of what different things, like things with semantic meaning. What does a story look like? Where is a story positioned? And what's happening here is they're just taking that and running with it and creating some hallucinations, basically.
Yes.
Yeah. So what are the things here? Is that a story? Is that a post? I mean, if we continue to scroll down, like, what is that? Watch dog care videos. Like, they're like all calls to action, like shaped like objects. And then we get search for a dog to walk. So this is like dog category. Like those actually are not terrible to have like little like collections of dogs. I don't know.
I guess. Yeah. Yeah.
Again, like we're
Happy hound.
we're healthy hound, happy hound,
Happy hound,
active dog for a walk. All right, and then let's not comment on the images. But like, is this a post? Like this is, but then like earn points, earned, great job. Can you see the difference between these?
Oh, 100%. I mean, this is just like chaotic.
Yeah.
Like I cannot make sense of, at least we could make sense of what we thought the objects were and how they related in the last one. This is just like a UI nightmare.
Yeah.
Like what?
But zoom out and look how good it looks.
Yeah.
You zoom out and you're like, oh yeah, like put that on Behance. Like, and then you zoom in and you're like, oh, okay. This is actually the only part that kind of makes sense. This is a conversation. Okay, I can see that it's a conversation. Weird timestamps, but then like this is an interesting thing that I actually could get some inspiration on like, is it a walk in progress? And can the owner sort of like see that the walk is in progress? And like they're like 11 minutes into their walk and there's like a little progress bar and they're supposed to walk for 30 minutes or something. Like that's kind of fancy, but like an interesting thing cool. That, yeah, I might end up playing with. It's like basically the walk object sort of is embedded in a chat conversation. Mm-hmm. So that's interesting. And then when we get to our owner page, maybe an owner page, and then there's just some like pictures and they have activities and like, do we even want followers and following here? Like, does that even make sense in like an application like this? So, yeah, I hope Allie, I know you see the difference here, and I hope everybody watching can see this difference between what was generated about 5 or 6 weeks ago versus generated today, and the possibilities of taking something like an object map and semantic diagrams and information architecture and spitting it into a tool like this. I mean, the possibilities are really interesting.
Because it's way more than just the UI. And I feel like that's what this is focused on. And I'm very curious to see how Figma works as well, because is that going to be more UI focused, less attention on the architecture and how things relate and consistency of objects? And like, I feel like that's still needed.
Yes. I mean, it's going to be like, yeah, we're going to keep looking at these. Let us know in the comments if you've looked at any of them and if they do any better than this. But overall, like, to come back full circle, is AI coming for our UX and UI jobs? What do you think?
I mean, it intimidates me, but right now from what I'm seeing, I mean, it learned quick. It learned fast. That was, you said six weeks. I still think you need to have someone actually even making decisions on the priority. Again, we didn't get to go back and do more of the prompt, but I'm not impressed.
Right.
I'm for inspiration.
And for inspiration, really, really cool. Where I see this, so I guess I'm a little bit more doom and gloom on this one. And this is, I mean, we've been talking about this for like a couple months now. And I am doom and gloom mostly for our UI designers out there. For UX, I think you're safe, at least for the next few years.
Yeah, depending how fast it
just
moves.
the amount of progress in a year and a half was just really, really shocking. Yeah. I mean, I almost didn't regenerate it today because I was like, oh, like it's just going to give me something very similar. Like I'll just use this one because this one is so funny. I was like, no, I'll see. And I was floored on how much it changed. So I would say if you are really putting all your eggs in the UI basket, I would really start considering leveling up some of your strategic skills, some of your UX skills, being able to think about data and content and OOUX. So not to fear monger and to pitch OOUX, but I do think that more and more what we're going to be really, where we're going to bring a lot of value and unique human value is being able to look at these critically and start thinking about what questions to ask, and also doing some of that data structuring, that modeling, figuring out what is the mental model of the user, what is the model of the business, and how do we reflect that, and then using tools like this to build out all of our UI. Like once AI tools, and I think that they're already getting there, can pull in an existing design system and be prompted with a little bit more than just a couple sentences, but can be prompted with diagrams, can be prompted even with research, right? To actually feed a bunch of research in. We're going to get pretty good screens. And I think it's going to happen in months, not years.
And I love how you put that. We can be the ones challenging it, questioning it, poking holes in it. Like that, I still think for right now is a necessary human viewpoint. Like we need to be doing that still.
Yes. And OOUX is going to help you so much to be able to see that just the way that Allie and I were doing, and being able to say, ooh, this is an interesting piece of metadata, but like what object does this actually go on? And does this UI, this slider UI, make sense depending on the kind of values that we would have in size metadata? So being able to think critically, have that 4D X-ray vision, and be able to rip that apart and put it back together to something that makes sense.
Awesome. I can't wait to revisit this again in like a couple months and see where it's
at.
We got to follow up one time.
Definitely. All right. Cheers, y'all. Happy OOUXing, and please continue the conversation in the comments below. All right. Bye.
Awesome. Bye.